Lisa and Mark found their dream home in a small town, hoping to start a new chapter in their lives. This magnificent house, dating back to the 1920s, exuded history with its spacious rooms and elegant details. The distant neighbors and the tranquility of the neighborhood drew them in. However, the envelope they discovered in their mailbox on their first day showed that this piece was nothing but an illusion. There was no sender's name on the envelope. Inside was a message written in large, trembling letters. "Welcome to your new home. I am the Watcher. I've been watching this house for years, and now you are part of it too." An inexplicable unease settled over Lisa. Mark, however, dismissed it as a prank. "Maybe it was meant for the previous owner," he said, trying to reassure her. They threw the envelope away and returned to the bustle of moving in. The first night in the house was eerily quiet. For Lisa, the silence felt more like a threat than peace. She couldn't sleep at all. At exactly 3 a.m., she thought she heard footsteps outside their bedroom. She woke Mark, but the sounds had already stopped. Mark chalked it up to the natural noises of an old house, but Lisa remained unsettled. The next morning, they found another envelope at their door. This time, the message was more personal. "I'm watching you through the windows of the house. Families don't last long here. It's good you didn't bring children. Otherwise, their fate would already be sealed." Lisa now insisted on going to the police. Mark, however, dismissed it again as a prank by some local troublemaker. That night, Lisa's dreams were haunted by shadows. She saw a tall figure leaning towards her, its face indistinguishable. She woke up drenched in sweat. The second night, at precisely 2:33 a.m., they were startled awake by the sound of a scream echoing through the house. Lisa jumped out of bed, but Mark continued to sleep. She thought the sound came from the attic. With trembling hands, she grabbed a flashlight and headed toward the stairs. When she reached the attic, the chill in the air immediately struck her. The dark space was filled with old, dusty belongings. In one corner, she noticed a large chest. She opened it to find hundreds of old letters. Each letter was from a different year, all written by the same person, the Watcher. With trembling hands, she opened one of the letters. It read, "Being the Watcher isn't easy, but the secrets of this house must be protected. Everyone who stays here pays the price." Lisa screamed, slamming the chest shut, and rushed back to her room. But when she arrived, Mark's side of the bed was empty. Her eyes darted around the room in panic. Something moved by the window. As she approached, she saw hands reaching toward her from the shadows. A figure in the yard gestured toward her. She called the police, but by morning, Mark was still missing. In the yard, they found only a single set of footprints. Near the house's entrance, there was a note. "One is gone, but the house is still mine. No one escapes from here." Lisa packed her belongings and left the house. In town, she spoke with an elderly neighbor who revealed that previous residents had also vanished suddenly and mysteriously. The house's original owner, a woman who had died tragically, was said to have cursed it. The legend claimed that she would never let anyone leave. Lisa's terror deepened as she learned more. But the true horror came one night while she was alone in her hotel room. At midnight, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was familiar. It was Mark. He whispered, "Lisa, where are you? It's so dark here. Please come get me." Lisa dropped the phone. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen. "Come back." Lisa was never heard from again. It is said she vanished without a trace. The house was never sold again. The townspeople still claim that the house is filled with dark shadows and that at night a pair of eyes watches from the windows. Weeks after Lisa disappeared, the town remained gripped by fear. The house stood abandoned, yet its dark secrets persisted. No one dared to buy it. Its walls and windows bore the traces of past horrors. The townsfolk claimed that anyone who left the house vanished without explanation, but no one dared to end the dark history of the town. One evening, an old man told a group of teenagers, "Anyone who sets foot in that house never comes back. There's something in there. I've always felt it." Lisa and Mark were just the latest victims. Despite their fear, the teenagers decided to investigate the house. After all, they had grown up in this town and knew every corner of it. But as they stood before the old house, they hesitated. It was more than just the town's oldest and most mysterious house. As they approached, they noticed something that stopped them in their tracks. A single eye in the window. It resembled a human eye but was disturbingly still and dark. Some of the group turned back, but a few pressed on. Inside, the atmosphere was immediately oppressive. The walls were decayed, and every corner and room seemed to echo a past tragedy. As they reached the stairs leading to the attic, a cold wind brushed against their faces. They climbed up, only to find something waiting for them. In one room, they discovered an old chest. Opening it, they found dozens of old photographs and letters. Each belonged to someone who had vanished in the house's history. One letter stood out. It read, "I am the owner of this house. I am the watcher. It's easy to see the past, but the future must be preserved. I was born in this house and lived here my entire life. And remember, if you're here, you're already lost." One of the group shouted, "We know who the watcher is." But as the words left their mouth, the door slammed shut, and one of them disappeared in an instant. The group tried to escape, but the door wouldn't open. Whispering voices echoed from the walls, intensifying their terror. They realized that with each disappearance, only one thing remained. A note. "You cannot escape. I will always be here." The townsfolk launched another search, but the events of that night were never forgotten. The group was never found. From that day on, the town noticed one haunting detail. Every night, a pair of eyes could be seen watching from the house. The house still stands. The townspeople have taken every precaution to keep it uninhabited. But someone has returned. That someone is the watcher. One night, the townspeople saw movement in the window. Eyes watching, slowly fading with the morning light. Everyone knew the curse of the house's original owner had not ended. It continues to live on. No one ever wanted to see or approach the house again because there was always a watcher, and those eyes never closed. Some eyes never close. They carry the dark secrets of the past and in some way are always watching you.